Hey everyone, Leslie O here. We're going to do the fast technique on the clear glass ornaments. They come 4 to a pack. They come packed in their own little individual bag that they come out of. When you take off the prong, they have been double fired. So they've got a smooth opening here. You can't cut your fingers on them, which is really, really cool. I had these custom made, and they're about 3 3/4 inches wide, flat on one side, and actually thick enough. There is someone who does some engraving on these, so professional engravers can actually engrave these. But before I get started with my color combination, I want to test on paper what colors I plan on using. This first technique, I'm used to using Apple Blossom Nutmeg, and I just went through all my colors and didn't realize I don't have any nutmeg. So I'm going to lay some of this Apple Blossom down. And then see what color I'm in the mood for to be paired with it inside the ornament. Ooh, what color is that? That's Harvest Soul. I like how warm and juicy that is. Let's try Autumn Butternut. A little bit closer to Nutmeg, not a bad combination. Don't mind those colors at all. See if we can zoom in on this just a little bit so you guys can see the color. And then Terracotta Rose, which looks kind of purple in the camera here, but we know it's got a brown to it, so, oh yeah, that's that beautiful bricky pomegranate color. Okay, so now I'm even more confused than ever because I think all 3 of them would be gorgeous inside this ornaments. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so while I'm thinking about that tough decision, what color combinations I want to use, I'm trying to figure out how to keep this in the camera for you guys so you could see them just a little bit. We'll pull them back and forth. We're going to take this ornament, and so you can see it easily, we're going to drop a black surface behind it so it shows up on the camera just a little bit better. All right, so first things first, I've got to put something in here that is going to make the color stick. This is a new product called the Solution. It's basically an acrylic that has had no thickener added to it. And if you find you have to move it, when I talk about the fleshy part of my hand, I'm talking about the part that comes up from your thumb into the base of your hand. If I'm ever tapping the ornament and talking about moving stuff around, that's the part of the hand that I'm hitting. Okay, so this is pretty juicy stuff, and I wanted it really, really juicy. Want to make sure the whole thing gets coated. This is going to be the really, really, really fast technique. I've got some wooden stir sticks here that you use for coffee. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple scoops of Bind and Resist. Now this is 9 centimeters, 9/10 of a centimeter opening, so you're going to need something small to scoop the product in. Okay, I'm going to tap this around and kind of randomly get that Bind and Resist to stick in some random places. I know it doesn't look like much right now at this point, but the Bind and Resist not only will soak up excess acrylic if you get too much in there, but it gives a real nice milk bottle glass effect. And I want to make sure I didn't have too many chunks of that in one place before I start adding the interference. Okay, well that's enough of the Bind and Resist. Flip this over. And we're going to use interference green. The cool part of micas is if I was to actually mix a green and a pink together, I might get mud. But because the interference or the green mica isn't going to technically mix with the color in there, I can use a complementary mica to go behind the actual colors I'm going to drop into this ornament. So I'm going to put a little bit of interference green. You can start seeing the green up there in the camera. By the way, this is not an easy technique. These ornament techniques are not easy to film because I can see inside the ornament where you can't, and yet in order to get a really pretty piece, I need to see more inside of the ornament. So the other part of the ornament, I'm going to use some of this fabulous violet, some interference or iridescent violet or iridescent lilac, or some companies may call it lilac pearl. But see, now in the camera you can see the green and the lilac starting to marble. And see what happens with that gum arabic? The gum arabic starts to create a marbling effect. If it doesn't stick and we have to drop some color from the top, we can. Okay, so now I'm going to put my finger over the entire top and shake it up and try to get that mica to the top. Back to the fleshy part of the hand. That fleshy part of the hand that I keep talking about because I want the color here. Well, I might not have put enough solution inside. We're going to find out how this works. I want a little bit more color right here. Okay, so now I've got this ornament that's kind of pink and green and it's got some marbling in it. I'm going to take this away. And now we're going to add just a few little freckles of the apple blossom, and I'm going to tap, 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 tap as I spin the heart around with my left hand. You might want to practice this, but that way your pink gets dispersed all the way around. It's lightly getting dispersed all the way around. You can barely see right here where I tapped it in. It's going around because I tapped as I moved. Now I'm going to move my stick a little bit farther into the ornament. I realize you can't see in, but it's going to go a little bit deeper. Same thing, I'm going to tap, 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 tap as I turn. Now, even though it looks dry, there's some moisture in there, and we want to be really patient and allow that pink to have a chance to bleed into the solution that's in there. So hopefully we got enough pink in there. You never know, these are so random. Looks like I've got a little bit here on the bottom, which is, I need some on the bottom, I need some all over. All right, so I'm gonna go with that warmer color, the Harvest Soul. That's that first one that I put out that I really, really liked. Same thing, I've got a scoop of it, and I'm going to tap, 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 tap as I turn this. And you can start to see the darker color starting to form around there. Then I will go a little bit further in. Same thing, I'm going to tap as I turn. I won't go as slow this time because I like a more even movement when I'm doing it. Now you start to see what's happening. That Harvest Soul is starting to marble in there already. And we thought the ornament was all dried out, but now it's a personal selection. I want to try to get some color, personal selection, personal choice. I want to try to get some color down there. I'm going to try to get a little bit of color down here. Right before your eyes, this thing is changing. Right before your eyes. It is literally changing. Absolutely gorgeous. I've got a little opening there. So I'm going to take that part of the ornament and tap it on that fleshy part of my hand. See if I know. So there's nothing that I could tap over there. So my choice is, do I want to put pink or do I want to put in a little bit of the autumn? I think I'm going to try to put a little bit of the pink. I'm sorry, the Harvest Soul. To get that pink on that area, again, I got to use gravity because the hole was underneath here on this side. So I have to use gravity, and that's why I said this is a pretty hard technique to show in the camera. But see how this is starting to change right before your eyes. Right before your eyes. Now, this is the point where people will get impatient and they're going to say, well, I want all this stuff to fill in. And the cool part is you can finish the ornament off with, and we will in a few minutes, with any of those iron oxide micas that I talked about, the gold and the bronze and the coppers. They stick for some reason without any kind of solution at all. I can't explain exactly why. I don't know if they act like a magnet and cling to the glass, but the metallics seem to be one of the micas that will cling to the inside of the glass with very little or no solution or glue or anything, any kind of adhesive inside to make them stick. So we will come back after this ornament has a chance to have some of the color bleed in, and we're going to do another one. Okay, so I think I'm done with the pink combination, and I'm going to do another one here. I have some Pear Blossom, beautiful colors here, Pear Blossom and Olivine. Those are gorgeous colors. Let me zoom my camera out a little bit here so you can see me. And I've got another one of my beautiful hearts. Take it out of the bag. Again, the prong, smooth glass here. I love the part of this that it has smooth glass. And I'm not going to cut my hand. Clean off my space here. So we have a nice work surface to start with. And same thing, I'm going to pour in some of this solution and let it work its way around the ornament. Oh, now this time I think I got a little bit too much, but there's even a way to handle that. I've got my finger over the hole while I'm running it back and forth on the top of the heart. I'm putting my finger right here over the top of the hole while I'm running it back and forth. Okay, I did say that this is probably one of the hardest things to show on camera because I need to look down in here, and if I'm looking down in here, it's hard for you to look down in there. Now, I think there's a little bit too much solution in here. So what do I do about that? Well, I can take the top right off of my squeeze bottle, pour some excess off by moving this back and forth. And there's the excess that's been poured out of there, and that's okay. It's good for you to see me do that on camera because nobody's perfect. I did have a wonderful pipette around here that sort of measured the perfect amount, but I can't find it. So I'm having to do this. This is the bind and resist again. I just like the effect that it gives. It gives this antique milk bottle effect that is just fabulous. I know it doesn't look like much when you're at this point of the video. Fleshy part of the hand. Remember that fleshy part of the hand is where you're always going to hit it. I've seen a couple of these break, but it's very, very infrequent that we will see any kind of breaking because the glass is so thick. I had these custom made years ago and they've been in storage for about 2 years, and we're just really excited to get them back into our warehouse where we can play with them. Okay, well that's enough. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's really going to help a little bit. And since I'm going to use some greens in this next one, I'm going to start with the Interference Violet because I know that the violet is complementary to the green. So let's start scooping some of this in. Same thing, I could turn it as I'm moving or spank it. You can start to see the violet is showing up in there. The violet is starting to show up, and you can see how what the bind and resist is doing, but it's also soaking up any of that excess solution. This is for the beginners. This is definitely a beginner video for people who want to get started and have a success with their ornaments. Because in the next couple videos I'm going to do a two-step process. It's a little bit messier, but a whole lot of fun. And anything where we get to play with color and have fun is a good thing. Okay, well, just so we can keep in tune with the fact that there is some green in here, I'm going to use another color of mica. And the beautiful thing about micas is they're not going to spoil each other out. You're able to put in a little bit of pink or violet and a little bit of green, and they don't make mud when they're in micas. You actually get to see the separation of the violet and the green. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, I want some up here, so kind of got to tap it upside down. Back to that fleshy part of the hand. My ornament's looking pretty thorough in coverage. Pretty thorough. I still want some open spots because I will be dropping either a copper or a gold. Since I'm going to use green, I'm probably going to use some kind of copper backdrop behind this. So we want to have a little bit of space here, some kind of open crackling space. It doesn't hurt. Okay, so let's start with the lightest color like we did before, like the apple blossom. This, by some silly, I didn't mean to plan it this way, this is Pear Blossom. And I'm slowly turning the ornament as I'm tapping the product off of my stir stick, my little coffee stirrer. You can start to see the Pear Blossom forming in there. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, well, I want some back here on this side, so I'm going to start here where I know that I'm going to be tapping from the back and turning, tapping and turning. You can take your scoop and put it further down to the bottom, so you get a little bit of color on the bottom when you're turning the ornament. Oh, this is so pretty. I'm liking this combination. Now, I don't know, I might want to use 3 colors. I like the idea of this, a little bit of olive green, and I may go back and use some of that, that Harvest Soul that we used in the first ornament. Because I'm kind of liking the idea of some of that harvesty color in there. Okay, so now I'm going to use the olivine. Same thing. Sprinkle and turn. Sprinkle and turn. Kind of turn the ornament and hit that fleshy part of your hand on all sides, and look what's starting to happen. The colors are instantly coming in and changing, and it's really random. This is one thing you cannot have total control over. You need to be willing to give up a little bit of control when you do this. Now, I am going to use a third color. I mentioned I want to use the third color. I'm going to go back and use some of this Harvest Soul. Again, I'm just going to tap it gently as I turn. Hope I'm not ruining this by doing this because it's pretty the way it is. And tapping it as I turn. These ornaments are literally changing right before your eyes. Okay, so tap this off again. Let's flip this over. So now I've got my first ornament that I did. I'll let you guys have a really long, good look at that. All the way around. So it looked like it had gaping holes, but it's not bad. It's just the tiniest bit of solution in there to make that mica stick. Mica and the Arte-Pigment stick. This has a beautiful streak of pink in here, but I'm okay with that. And I know the colors are still bleeding. This will change in the next 15-20 minutes. These ornaments will look much different than they even do now. But for the purpose of the video, I want you to see how we'll finish this off. So this first ornament, I think I'm going to just finish it off quickly, and we'll drop some of the metallic gold behind it. stay with the warm family where we're at. This is actually an Egyptian gold. Actually, that looks too dark. Give me a second. I'd rather have a really nice bright yellow gold. See how this is more yellow and this color is a little bit, I don't know if you can tell the difference, is a little bit more antique. So I'm going to go with some solar gold in here. Sorry, I have big tubs back here behind me. And I'm going to be very generous as I put it in. And I tap and I turn. Put it in. And I tap and I turn. Put my finger over the top. Shake it vigorously. I still have my finger on the top even though I'm turning it. And hitting the fleshy part of my hand. I'm still hitting the fleshy part of my hand. Now you can see this is starting to fill in. I need a little bit more here on the top. Okay, so how would I do that? Well, I'm going to get it just barely in, turn the stick upside down and try to scrape it off right there. Same thing, just barely get it in, scrape it off. Then take my finger, use the gravity, and actually hit the part of my hand where I want that mica to go. And it's starting to fill in the top here, which is exactly where I wanted it to go. Okay, that's not too bad. I don't mind that color combination. Okay, let's attack this green one. I have a russet color. It's kind of a dark coppery red color. I think we call this mauve or merlot. I think it's the merlot. And again, I'm going to use a generous amount and keep turning and keep turning. Okay, put my finger over the top, shake it vigorously. Okay, then use that fleshy part of my hand while I'm still keeping my finger over here. You can use your index finger or your middle finger as you're gently tapping each side of the heart to evenly distribute that color that I put in. Boy, this is absolutely gorgeous. But like I said, this is going to change before our eyes. If we had another 20 minutes worth of time, you could see the changes in here because the colors will just get rich and they will deepen. So there you have it. That's that beautiful green that's made with the peridot, the olivine, the harvest soul, interference green or green pearl, and violet pearl, finished off with a little bit of the merlot metallic powder. This is the violet and green mixed with a little bit of apple blossom, harvest soul, and gold. Hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Leslie signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.